All right, out at the shop like always. Every time I post a YouTube video, I am here at the shop. Doing a couple things today. Going to do a how-to on how to relocate your steering rack on S13 or S14. Show you guys how to cut it and weld it up. First things first, we got to get this boy covered up so it's not getting covered in all the sparks. We'll talk about this thing soon, but we are making some pretty good progress on all the stuff that we had planned for this year. So gonna cut up this S14 subframe. You can see this one came in real greasy and nasty. Most of them are. I cleaned up just the area that I need. The gentleman can take care of getting the rest of it cleaned up. The idea is here you're gonna cut it right along this ridge, and then you're gonna follow this line, cut it here, cut through the middle right here, up and around and down, and then once we get to the flip side, you got to cut that in half. So I'll show you that section as well once we get to that point, but the first part is just a lot of cutting, so let's get to it. Alright, so everybody does things a little bit differently. I like using a little bit of a smaller blade in these areas because it limits the overhang you have when you make the cuts. The less overhang you have, the less you have to weld. I always have a fresh blade. The fresh blade is really nice in this area because it's such a tight area right there. It's hard to get something in there. So we're going to go around. We're going to make these cuts right now all the way across. Then once we have that cut, we'll probably switch the blade to put the big boy on, or we'll flip it over and then put the big blade on. So get this going. Alright, now we got that little swoop of a cut in there. We can make these cuts, so time to switch to a bigger blade. Alright, now time to make these end cuts here. Alright, now that that piece is gone, it gives you kind of an essence of an idea of how it all lines up. Obviously it's just sitting in there, but you put a big burn in right here, big burn in right here, up and around, down all the way across here, and then on the back side you'll see that as well. So making progress. Alright, I've been trying to save you guys some of the boredom, and I've been grinding and cleaning this up off camera, but one thing I want to point out to everybody that I think is a huge thing that people miss is you actually want to take, there's a lip here, and you actually want to take and you want to cut and clearance that lip as far back as possible. I always take a small blade because it works the best for cutting in there, but you want to get way back deep in there because once you relocate your rack, your holes that you need to mount and bolt through, you need as much space here as you can to get that angle to get that bolt in. So if you don't do that, you could have a huge nightmare or possibly not be able to get your bolts in. So that's a big thing that you want to make sure you don't miss when you're relocating your steering rack. All right, so probably one of, if not the most important part of this entire process is cleaning. You need to get yourself some acetone, a rag, and wherever you're going to be welding, you need to make sure that area is clean. Especially on these racks, you want to get inside as well, because that grease starts seeping through, and when the grease seeps through, say goodbye to your pretty boy weld. So this bad boy, if I can do it with one hand, you can see it'll essentially sit in here, and we'll be able to burn her in all the way around and burn her in down here as well. So I'm going to start cleaning, and we'll bring you along for the welding process. All right, got it cleaned up, lined up. Scoot this over a hair, that direction. So what I like to do is, I have it lined up, I square it, make sure it's squared to the measure, and once that is proper, sorry for giving you a bad view there, I need my other hand. So once that is proper, I like to burn in like these small areas first. That way that's burned in and I know it's steady. I can double check everything, and once I double check it, then I just go nuts. For my welder here, I like to put it on level 3. I keep my wire speed about in the middle. I unplug everything that I don't need, that way I don't flip any breakers. And I get to welding. This is a perfect example why I always double check everything. I see an area here where I could have adjusted the clearances, so I do have that burned in on top, but I'm going to fix that quick before I burn everything the rest of the way in. How about that? Every once in a while you get a surprise. Spark catches the right thing. That's why you need to be careful with your acetone. But all that craziness aside, burned in, burned in, burned in. Just gonna touch a couple areas here and here to clean it up. And that's it. All right, guys. She's burning hot, but she's welded in. You can see all the welds. Obviously, you can see the back side. You can see the area you have now to get the bolt holes in, but that's it. That's how you locate a subframe for S13 or S14. One small thing that I'm going to do here at some point is just cut a groove where the power steering rack sits, but it's so hot right now, we'll leave that for a little bit. Thanks, guys.